Fighters, entrepreneurs, everyone out there who's trying to take it to the next level with their profession, or whether if they're in a struggle of their own. We are with the #1 best-selling author, Zachary Conley. He's an MMA fighter, or former MMA fighter, now a business consultant with LightspeedVT. If you ever heard of Cardone University, it's hosted by Lightspeed. We have the guy here right now. Here's his book. And Zachary, thanks so much for doing this, man.
Absolutely, glad to be here.
I really appreciate you taking the time. I know you meet with clients all the time. So for everybody out there, who are you, what do you do, and what is the book about? Why did you put this book together?
Well, the book's really about, introducing myself, kind of my story, my struggle to other people out there, and hopefully helping them out a little bit. I've already had a lot of positive feedback about it. People are giving it to their sales teams, even sports teams. My old sports team in the adjoining town ordered it, read it, loved it. I work in training now. I continue training. I've trained all my life, and I work for the top virtual training company in the world. And like you said, Grant Cardone, Damon John, Eric Thomas, Zig Ziglar, the list goes on and on of clients. So we're expanding the training world in that area now at this point in my life.
Tell me a little bit about, give me a little bit of your background. I always talk about started from zero. All right. So it's all about, using your story as your competitive advantage. And you obviously had a hell of a life before you found your way into Lightspeed, with the military, with, the struggles with the home life. I guess all of that made you sort of a tougher person on the inside. Can you tell us a little bit about that too?
Sure. Yeah, I guess the saying's, pressure creates diamonds. And there's been a lot of pressure in my life from an early age, from, abusiveness in the home and junkies and traveling, always running across the country. I really, found escape first in not really a sport, but in a competition. I played chess as a kid, got me away on the road. That adapted into, growing up, becoming a young man, playing sports, football, wrestling, track, etc. I excelled in those, went and played college football, and then ended up in the military. After I met my wife, that also obviously, if you haven't been in the military, that's a lot of pressure, a lot of stress, especially young families, not making a lot of money. So I needed an outlet. Took me to the MMA world, where I started bumping into giants like Randy Couture, Forrest Griffin. Got accepted onto their team, training with them, helping prepare for championship fights, fighting myself.
So wait, go back to that. Randy Couture, obviously Forrest Griffin, that's a lot in the book. There's a lot about them. There's a quick story about you meeting Randy Couture. Can you share that with the audience here? Because I think that's super cool.
Yeah, so the very first time I met Randy Couture was the first day I walked into his gym. And my buddy, who convinced me to go to the gym, I said, "You're crazy. I don't want to get dumped on my head and beat the crap out of." But I went kind of to support him. Randy walks in right when we're signing up and comes to introduce himself. Says, "Hey, I'm Randy Couture." My friend kind of loses it. Randy asked, "Where are you guys from?" And he just walked up, "Spencer Doyle," and said his name. Kind of stumbled around, and I didn't really, I wasn't very familiar with. I knew who he was. I didn't know how big of a deal he was at the time. So I was cool as a cucumber. We signed up, loved it. My buddy ended up getting beat up and quitting after a couple of weeks, and I got addicted, still addicted. I still train jiu-jitsu, usually daily. As of late, I've been busy, but usually daily.
So you obviously were, athletic in the back, had an athletic background, but when you started to become more of a fighter, did it really give you like an outlet to, because you're a chess player, you said, so you had a lot of like internal dialogue going on. Was it like an outlet for you?
Oh, absolutely. 100%. Not just for, physically, which I needed, but mentally. So a lot of MMA jiu-jitsu is, physical chess. There's a lot of mental going on. A lot of times a smaller guy can beat a bigger guy if he's better at his game. So
I think all the time, actually, every short guy can beat a taller guy. That's just me, though.
Not even that. Just smaller, like skinnier. if you have a better game plan and more knowledge, it's like learning how to speak. If you're a poet, you're going to speak better than somebody who's 2 years old. The more knowledge you have, the better you're going to be at your craft, and it doesn't matter, your stature, your size. A lot of it will come down to what you know, and then how hard you push towards that goal.
The message that I got from the book is really that if you want to be great at anything, no matter what, if it's chess or if it's MMA, if it's that sales job, marketing, if you're trying to be a better, father, whatever it is, it's just constant training. And I think that is in complete correlation with the company that you work with now. So was that the message? Were you trying to make it to show others that, nobody's good at anything right out of the gate? And in order to get good, you have to stay good for long periods of time. And that consists of years and years and years of training. Is that right?
Yeah. I think that's at the heart of the book. Also continuing to push, making yourself better through training. A lot of people think they're trained when they're not. A lot of people think they know how to fight, and they don't. It's something you have to start to do, you have to learn to do, and continue to do. And our founder has a saying: training is not something you did, it's something you do. You have to keep doing it. If you don't sharpen those knives, you're not going to, get the results you want. And at Lightspeed, we're the best way to deliver training. We have all aspects: audio, visual, interactive video, testing, role play, as close to real life as it can be virtually is what we try to do, because, training is very important.
And so you said the founder, that's Brad Lee, who you put in the book is also. So how long has Lightspeed been around, and who is like your target audience? Who do you help personally? Obviously, you can help people through the book. It's a piece of your mind that's down on paper. You use it to show who you are, to build a relationship up with people. But the people who are going to come to you, are they business owners? Are they coaches? Are they other authors? Who can you really help?
So really, all of those small, medium, large businesses, we help them train more efficiently their people, track them, make sure they're being held accountable, giving them updates, things of that nature. Also, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, authors, speakers, trainers, really anybody who's got a message that they want to correlate to an end result. Obviously, sometimes people want to get money. Sometimes people want to increase, profits through their employees. Ultimately, it's usually about money. But anybody trying to get their message across effectively, monetize that message, or, just train people better. So yeah, any size business, usually you want to have at least 10 or 15 people at that business and up, or any trainer, author, coach, somebody looking to train us. We just had a couple of cryptocurrency trainers sign on, and they're already out the gate, making hundreds of thousands of dollars, because, there's so much, want in that industry. And there's other industries like that too, but there's a lot of exciting stuff going on right now.
And to give everybody watching this now, or on YouTube, or wherever they'll be watching it, I met Zachary through, I think, LinkedIn. Is that when you messaged me?
Yeah.
So the power of social media, and I've gotten to know you, I guess, over the past year, maybe year and a half, somewhere in there. And, we were able to help market your book and bring it to life, and, get to meet some of the people you're working with. So for people out there, who are your clients right now? Grant Cardone, Jeffrey Whitmer, give me some other names.
Damon John, Eric Thomas, Tony Robbins. I just signed a fellow named Tony Gaskins, who's a renowned relationships coach. General Motors, Penske, the UFC.
Yeah, so it's not even just training an audience to make, for like your followers, or for people who you're trying to sell anything to. It's for your own team, right? It's really for General Motors, for your own team, those type of people, right?
Yeah, they train their whole national industry through our system. So trying to make your team better, or trying to monetize like somebody like Grant Cardone or Damon John would do. So we serve both those aspects, and sometimes both applications for the same company. Sometimes a trainer has a company that he wants to train his own employees and sell. Grant Cardone, for example, has his own team. They're always training on Cardone U, and he's selling Cardone U.
I was reading through, and one of the things we always recommend to people putting books together are quotes in between the chapters. Is there a favorite quote that you have that really stands out to you? There's one that stands out to me. I didn't know if there was one that you.
Which one?
My favorites is probably I grew up with Rocky Marciano stuff, so I love Rocky Marciano quotes, which is, I don't want to be remembered as a beaten champion. You know, he was the only undefeated heavyweight champion of all time. And I love the fact of, you know, that's how he wants to be down there in the record books, just to be on top. And even if he did lose, just never be beaten mentally, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And I particularly like that because my grandfather was the sparring partner for Rocky Marciano.
Oh, no way. So here's another quick little story. My grandfather was in World War II, and he was on a ship, and he was a boxer. And he fought a guy named Spider Webb. Okay, Spider Webb was like his boxing name. And he beat Spider Webb in a boxing match. And Spider Webb went on to actually fight Rocky Marciano in one of the fights and lost big time. So pretty cool.
You know, I've got a lot of feedback from actually Randy's quote from
yeah.
from people in sports. People on my own jiu-jitsu team actually said, man, that's a great quote. It really helped me out. And the quote is, you're nervous because you're afraid of the outcome. Accept the worst outcome. You'll be free and fight like you're able to. And I think that applies not only in the sports arena, it applies in a lot of places. You get over that fear. You know, you do lives like this, you do cold calls, you do whatever it is your industry that you don't want to do. Accept the worst outcome, that it's not going to be any worse than that. Get over it and do it anyway. You're going to perform better.
When you, I guess you still fight now. It's not professionally, but it's you still fight for sport, right?
Jiu-jitsu mostly now. I do jiu-jitsu tournaments. I help other UFC fighters. Francis Ganu, he's challenging for the UFC heavyweight championship against Stipe Miocic. He just dang near killed Alistair Overeem with an uppercut. But I train with him. I help him with his jiu-jitsu, some wrestling. You know, my coach is, you know, one of the best of all time. So a lot of people come in and train with us and get a lot out of it. But I still train with top dogs. I don't fight anymore. I've had, you know, 6 or so surgeries. So I want to be able to walk when I'm 70.
The greatest of all time. Is it one of the Gracies?
The greatest of all time.
Yeah, jiu-jitsu. I think of Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Always Gracie is the one that started all this, right?
Yeah. So he started with the fighting, but he's not the best jiu-jitsu player of all time. Not even close. A couple of his brothers, his nephew, might have a claim to that. So Rickson Gracie, his I believe his nephew Roger Gracie are up there. Marcelo Garcia. You know, even my coach, he's up there. He's pretty awesome. But yeah, not Hoist. Hoist made it famous, so that's his. He's like Ray Kroc. You know, he didn't perfect. He made it famous.
Well, I grew up watching the illegal UFC fights. I used to have one of those boxes, all right, that basically got all the channels, and I used to watch the UFC fights, you know, 1, 2, and 3, and it was the most insane thing that I've ever seen. And that's when I got to know Royce Gracie. And I'm like, man, he's the man. He's this short dude who's just killing everybody.
Yeah, and they did that on purpose because Rickson was bigger, right? He was better. He supposedly undefeated, like 300, 400 no. You know, Chuck Norris status. But Rickson was small, or Royce was small. He was only like 170 pounds soaking wet, and he's going against 220-pound guys. So they wanted to really prove that the system worked. It wasn't just the guy was stronger, faster. It was because of the technique and the knowledge he had was superior.
Oh, man. Pretty cool stuff, though. And there's a lot about, you know, it's a lot of mental stuff in here, but also just like pushing yourself to the edge to, you know, to become better, whether it's professionally or personally. Is there anything else you want to talk about with the book? Because you can actually get the book for PDF download on trainingtowinbook.com. It's on Amazon. Obviously, it was a bestseller. Anything else you want to share about the book?
No, I mean, I'm real happy with it. I've had a lot of positive feedback. If you can check it out, I'm sure there's some little tidbit in there that could help you out, give you a little inspiration if you're in a tough spot. You know, redirect, look for a way to get out of it, but get out of it quick and take action. You know, thank Mike for helping me out getting this published. Process was great. You know, smooth. Glad I did it.
Awesome. And one last thing about Lightspeed. Anybody who's out there who's an entrepreneur, who's a speaker, coach, maybe you have a big organization trying to train your people. I know that Ben Reif might be watching this either now or later. If you use Lightspeed, I'm sure, especially he's familiar with it, you'll be able to train a lot more effectively. So it's really good stuff. And it's great that you actually reached out to me last year. The power of social media is absolutely unbelievable. Better be using it out there.
Absolutely.
Well, thanks, Zachary. I'm going to share this now. If you obviously stay in touch, let's stay connected. I'll be out for 10X Growth Con February 22nd. So hopefully we can meet up in person finally.
Yeah, definitely. We'll make that happen for sure.
Good deal, man. All right, guys, if you guys want to write your own book, maybe get published, become best-selling authors, we can help you out with that. If you need any training, speak to Zachary, and we'll see you on the other side, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Zach.